I paid money to wait 2.5 weeks to see if I ruined 36 photos. And honestly, it's been one of the best decisions of this year. Somewhere between loading the first roll of film and finally seeing the scans, I realized something uncomfortable. I have forgotten how to live at the pace of my own life. I'm always at two places at once. I'm in a meeting while I'm checking my inbox. I'm with my loved ones while I'm planning my next event. Even when I'm resting, my mind is kind of loading the next tab. I kept telling myself that I wanted to slow down and live at a more sustainable pace, but if I'm honest, my default setting was still fast, next, repeat, reload. So instead of just promising myself for the 400th time to slow down, I started filling my life with things that would force that type of behavior. Friction. Anything that could make fast impossible. And that's how I ended up with film photography. After buying my first film camera on Marketplace, I was instantly hooked. The feeling was amazing. Analog is the answer. And then I got my grandfather's camera, which is this Canon FTQL, which just boosted the nostalgia value by 1,000. And I was hooked completely. It might be an addiction. I might have a problem. The thing is, even the process of getting this camera taught me some patience. You see, I asked my parents if they still had this camera. They said yes, I could come pick it up anytime. But the thing is, we don't live close by to them. So I had to wait. I had to wait a week before I could get this camera. Friction. And that friction taught me something valuable. It taught me that I have a problem with the gap between I want and I have. Before I had even taken a single photo, this camera taught me something. It taught me that I would have to wait for what I want. No spray and pray, no trying to get the shot, just 36 frames of intentionality. At first, it felt restrictive. It felt like I needed to raise the camera, check out a scene, and decide if this is truly worth one of the 36. But underneath the surface, there was another tension brewing. Am I willing to take this photo and then wait to see the result? It didn't take long before I noticed something unexpected. I was actually rushing to finish the roll so that I could see the results. There was this underlying pressure of speed and getting it done so that I can get to the finish point. I started catching myself looking for excuses to shoot, not because the moments mattered, but because I wanted to get to the result. The impatience really surprised me. Here I was supposedly trying to slow down, and yet I was rushing through this amazing art form just to get some cool photos. And that's when it clicked for me that this is the way that I've been living my life, always rushing to the next developed film, the next project, the next tick box, the next notification, instead of actually being in the moment that I'm in. Film just made the inner tension visible. When I finally used up the first roll of film, there was this mixture of excitement and relief. I rewound the film, I took the roll out, and I dropped it off at the lab, and they told me it would be ready in a week. A week. And then it didn't arrive in a week. Holidays came and the whole process was delayed, and I possibly gave them the wrong email address, so there was that confusion. So a week became 2 weeks. That's almost a month since I took the first photo. For 2 weeks, I carried this low-level question in the back of my mind. Did I load the film correctly? Did I underexpose, overexpose the film? Was the camera actually working? Is the shutter working? I mean, am I going to get photos back or not? Every time I refreshed my email and didn't see a message from the lab, it poked at something I didn't really want to look at. I'm not very good at living in the space between done and not yet. I'm used to instant confirmation. When the email arrived, it felt almost dramatic. I mean, this is actually quite an ordinary thing, but it felt almost magical. I opened the folder and there they were, the 36 photos that I took with my phone camera. Some were soft, some were poorly exposed, some were just not good. No magical cinematic masterpiece suddenly appeared out of nowhere. But then there were a few frames that genuinely made me pause. Not because they were technically perfect, but they made me remember. I remembered what the day felt like, the small conversation that happened just before I took the photo, the smell of the air, the little detail that made me lift the camera in the first place. Those photos weren't just images, they were proof that I was there. Mentally, physically, there, not partially on my phone, just there. And that contrast hit me. It wasn't that film magically gave me better composition or better taste. It just gave me a gap for my memory to catch up with my life again. Looking back, it's easy to romanticize the vintage camera and pretty images, but the real story is less glamorous and more uncomfortable. This 60-year-old film camera taught me that I don't wait well. I burn through experiences like I burn through photos on a memory card. And I underestimate how constant speed shapes my life. This camera didn't instantly fix that, but it gave me a concrete practice as a way to actively rebel against the speed of this life. Every step is slow by design. I waited for the camera. I lived inside 36 decisions, not infinite retries. I sat through a 2-week development delay, and I paid real money for every single mistake. None of that is efficient, but maybe that's why it works. It's a small protest against the part of me that believes that faster is always better. This old camera hasn't changed my whole life, but it's changed the tempo of small parts of my life, and that's where everything else starts. If you made it this far, I would like to thank you, and I would love to hear from you. So maybe just in the comments, let me know what's one thing that acts as this little protest in your life against the speed of life. Not in a productivity hack kind of way, just a real tactile way that you are slowing down your own life. Let me know in the comments, and if you want to keep exploring this slower, more intentional side of life with me, consider subscribing and liking the video. It really goes a long way so that I can make more content like this.
Het is zo satisfying gevoel om die rol klaar te maak.